Every dollar, every euro you hold in your pocket, even the single digit in your bank account, actually represents someone else's debt. This is not a metaphor. This is the nature of the system. Money is not wealth. Money is a liability, a responsibility. If you have money, somewhere someone must repay it. This could be a mortgage, a credit card debt, or a government bond. The global economy is built precisely on this paradox, and most people aren't even aware of this fact. But why is this so? Why must money be synonymous with debt? Why is the money that enters your pocket only possible by chaining someone else? What if there were another way? What if money didn't destroy one person's freedom while shackling another? History shows us that this is possible, but first we need to understand the actual workings of the system we live in. Because the story we are told and the reality are worlds apart. Most people think of banks as innocent intermediaries. They collect money from savers and then lend it to those in need. It seems logical and reassuring. But the truth is very different. Banks create money when they issue loans. Yes, you heard that right. Banks produce new money. Imagine you take out a loan of 100,000 units from a bank to buy a house. The bank does not take this money from another customer's account. That money is created the moment the loan agreement is signed. It did not exist yesterday, it exists today. With a single keystroke, it comes into being. But with one condition, it must be repaid with interest. This is one of the fundamental pillars of the system. A single loan may seem insignificant, but when we multiply it by millions of mortgages, credit card debts, and commercial loans, the picture becomes clear. Most of the money in circulation is born as debt. Money is first debt, then it gains value. For this system to sustain itself, debt must continually grow. Without the growth of debt, the system cannot survive. Otherwise, stagnation and crisis will come knocking. Governments are no exception to this cycle. When a government spends more than it collects in taxes, it borrows. It issues bonds and commits to repaying them with interest in the future. These bonds are purchased by banks, investment funds, or the central bank. In this way, new money enters the system. But this money is also tied to debt. Those who will repay it are future taxpayers. So what seems like a social responsibility is, in reality, leaving debt for the future. And perhaps the most critical point is this. This system only works as long as debt continuously grows. If people stop borrowing, the money supply contracts. If governments stop borrowing, liquidity freezes. That's why central banks panic when lending slows down, lower interest rates, and tolerate inflation. Because the system is built on debt. If debt stops, the system collapses. Inflation is not a mistake. It is a natural outcome of the system. As money increases, its value falls, purchasing power erodes. Inequality grows, lenders win, borrowers pay for decades. Even if you pay off your debt, the money at your hands is still someone else's liability. Escaping this system individually is almost impossible, but this order is not humanity's destiny. Debt-based money is not a law of nature, it is a design. And throughout history, different designs have been implemented. 4,000 years ago, in ancient Mesopotamia, farmers borrowed grain from temples and debts accumulated rapidly. Kings, seeing that debts were destroying societies, declared debt jubilees. Mass cancellations took place. This was not an act of kindness, but a survival strategy. Endless debt could destroy a society. Back then, people knew that money and debt could be limited. In medieval England, tally sticks, wooden sticks with notches, were used. Debts were recorded on them. but there was no interest, no compound debt. These sticks functioned like money for 500 years, a simple but sustainable system, far longer lasting than most modern banking systems. People knew that debt could be kept under control, and society was structured accordingly. Gold and silver coins were also not debt. Their value was based on the material itself, not a contract. This provided stability but limited flexibility. When new silver mines came to Europe in the 16th century, inflation surged. When the mines dried up, the economy stalled. This model was honest but not flexible. In the modern era, governments have also tried debt-free money. During the American Civil War, Abraham Lincoln issued greenbacks, debt-free money. The government created money without borrowing from banks. Soldiers were paid, suppliers were financed, the war continued. The system worked. But after the war, bankers eliminated this model. Why? Because debt money generates profit. Debt-free money does not. During the French Revolution, assignats were issued but collapsed due to excessive printing. This shows that debt-free money is possible, but undisciplined money always fails. Today, alternative systems exist. In the 1930s, Switzerland established the WIR Bank. In this system, small businesses trade with interest-free mutual credit. The rules of capitalist finance do not apply here. There is no debt, no interest, only a record of trust. This system has survived for 90 years and continues to function even in economic crises. There are also local currencies. Community currencies like the Bristol pound in the UK and Berkshires in the US keep money circulating within the local economy. They prevent profits from flowing to global corporations and financial giants. These designs are small but powerful experiments. They prove that money can be designed to preserve wealth rather than generate it. Cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, directly challenge the debt-based system. Its supply is limited, it is not created through debt, and it is independent of states. For supporters, this is a manifesto of freedom. It rejects the monopoly of states and central banks over money. For critics, it is volatile, speculative, and susceptible to manipulation by large players. Yet Bitcoin proves one thing: money does not have to be debt. Governments are also experimenting with digital money. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, could reduce banks' power to create money, but they also allow the state to monitor every transaction. Escaping debt could come at the cost of surveillance. Another idea is resource-backed money, systems based on energy, carbon, or natural resources. This provides discipline, but centralizes power and can control society's movements. Still, the important point is, debt is not the only option. The reason today's system dominates is not inevitability but profitability. Banks earn from interest, governments spend through debt, elites accumulate, the public borrows. This cycle moves wealth upwards. Now the system is cracking. Global debt has reached record levels, exceeding $300 trillion. Mortgages, student loans, credit card debts, government bonds. Debt grows, money multiplies, but purchasing power erodes. Inflation is a systematic mechanism to erode wealth. This is not just economics. This is your life. Your salary, taxes, savings are all products of this system. Even if you don't borrow, the system creates debt on your behalf. But this is not fate. This is a design. Designs can be changed. History shows that every civilization living with debt-based money eventually collapsed. Those who survived viewed money as a tool. Money does not have to be debt. Money can be trust, resources, freedom. But we must imagine it and demand it.